Hello, Grapperinos, and welcome to another exciting episode of Probably Next Week on Smackdown. I'm Bryan, and I'm once again joined by a guy who loves Drew McIntyre and wants him to win the championship. Probably the best Drew McIntyre fan that I know. Mike, say hi, Mike.
I've really just become a fan of premium jobbers. I mean, I know Jey Uso has now joined that category, and Drew McIntyre might as well be up there now.
You mean
So
LA Knight?
LA Knight is the top premium jobber. He is the most premium of premium jobbers you can have.
He's the golden jobber.
He's the golden jobber. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? You know how OSW has the golden knocker. We should have a golden jobber. Give it to someone who jobbed out last week and did a really good job at it.
Okay, who would you
Yeah,
say
the
is
LA
the
Knight
yeah?
Memorial Golden Job Award.
Ta-da! Oh man. So who would you award it to?
To last week, I gotta go back
Yeah.
to my notes and see who won last week on SmackDown. Let's see who did what last week on SmackDown.
Oh boy. Last week was a
I
blur
gotta
for Mike here.
I gotta give it to Sami Zayn. Doing the job for Ilja, because apparently he didn't want Ilja to lose in his first match back, despite it being a championship bout, which would have been fine with basically everyone. So
There you
I
go.
think that's them. I think they're gonna push him to be
Yeah.
the Royal Rumble winner, as I said on the Raw episode.
Yeah. No, I can definitely see why they would give it to Sammy if he wins the Royal Rumble there. I would definitely see why. And Sami Zayn versus Cody Rhodes, not that bad. If Cody Rhodes is actually champion, but we'll see. So, SmackDown Friday. You guys know what we do here on the show. We book the show, or at least the next episode of the show, using these rules that we have set upon ourselves, and then we tell you what we think the next episode is going to look like with some good old fashioned questioning and all that goodness. And then after that, we will watch the next episode, I should say, of SmackDown. And then we are going to score our booking and predictions based on this good old fashioned scoring system, as you can see there. And then we will tell you our scores on the next episode of this show. So, without further ado, let's get to the points from last week. I think I got a 7 from last week. And part of it is just Cody and Sammy appearances. The MFTs, I think I only got one prediction right when it comes to the winners, which is Charlotte and Alexa winning their match against Sol Ruka and Zarya. Or Zarya. I don't know how to pronounce that. But they they won. Charlotte and Alexa did. And I got points for that. MFT members are like 1 point, so I guess we'll put it there. And yeah, that's about it. How about you, Mike?
Yes, I got points from the aforementioned tag team match between Bliss and Flair and Sol Ruka and Zarya. Um, and I got points from the number one contendership match between Drew McIntyre and Jacob Fatu.
That was wild that you pulled that
That
off.
was wild. Yeah, I saw like two comments online saying they might do it. And I was like, yeah, that seems like a way for them to give Drew another shot at the title. You need to build someone up for Saturday night's main event to fight Cody. So I figured they
Yeah.
would probably do it. I didn't think they would do it with Fatu, but maybe they want another, upper card guy to keep it fresh. But alas, that didn't happen. So
Yeah. I guess let's see how we get there, I suppose, or how we think they're gonna get there. As we head into the announced matches, which is only one, which is Tiffany Stratton versus Kiana James. I don't think there were any other matches announced. So, without further ado, let's book this thing and get to my version of the show as Drew McIntyre walks out to the ring. He talks about what happened last week, what happened between him and Cody. He says he wants Cody to come back so that he can beat him up some more and sort of, show to the world what kind of a phony Cody is. Maybe some shit posting here and there added in, maybe, I suppose. Nick Aldis comes out and he says that, well, last week was really rude. I don't know why you had to escalate it to this point with Cody. He says that it's kind of unjustified. So you know what? Since you two, or since you, Drew, really, really want this opportunity, I will give you a bigger stage to do it. Even though it's not really that much of a bigger stage. Why? Because it's basically going to be announced at Saturday night's main event that Cody versus Drew will happen for the undisputed WWE Championship, as Nick Aldis says. He also says that Jacob Fatu was checked on per your attack on him. And I know you want to deny that attack on Jacob Fatu last week, but I'm pretty sure you did the attack on Jacob Fatu. So we checked on Jacob Fatu, and Jacob Fatu isn't really affected by it. He's more of a all gas no brakes kind of guy, if you know what I mean. And so, since he is like that, he wants a match with you tonight. And Drew McIntyre accepts. And he says that he will bloody Jacob Fatu some more. So much so that he is no longer going to be here from the company. That is one less Samoan in the company. It's no longer going to be World Samoan Entertainment, I guess. And that's the main event. Drew McIntyre versus Jacob Fatu, once again, made official. And we move on from that to Tiffany Stratton versus Kiana James. And I'm going to have Kiana James win here because of a distraction from Julia. Remember, Julia and Kiana James are a tag team, kind of, I suppose. They kind of help each other out, I guess. After the match, I'm going to have two things happen. Number one, I'm going to have Michin and BFAB brawl with Julia and Kiana James to kind of separate them from the crowd. And then we're going to have Tiffany all alone in the ring. She is then attacked by Jade Cargill, which sets up Jade Cargill versus Tiffany Stratton for Saturday night's main event. Unless they want to do Nia Jax or something. In which case, oh God, help us all. There you go. That is what I have for that. We're going to move on to DIY versus Fraxium. This happens because last week they had a little bit of an interaction backstage. And this has started a culmination of that. I don't think this will be a Saturday night's main event thing. I also don't think it's going to be a go-home show thing. I'm just going to have the two teams just fight it out in the ring. And I am going to have Fraxium win by pinfall. Maybe this sets up Fraxium versus Street Profits next week. I really don't know where they're going with this tag team kind of storyline. I think they're just plopping a bunch of tag teams together and they're like, okay, fight. Here you go. So it's probably going to be two random tag teams next week. Maybe Los Garza takes on whatever, Fraxium maybe. I don't know. But I am going to have Fraxium win here by pinfall. And that maybe sets up them going up against another random tag team. Who knows? But there you go. We move on to Ilya Dragunov having a promo in the ring. Talks about his win and what winning the U.S. Championship felt for him and his family. And he is then attacked by Solo and the MFTs. And, they attack him. He's the new U.S. champion. And then Solo grabs a mic. He says that he means what he said last week. He is back. His family is back. And he wants to take all of it from everybody. He wants to take the U.S. Championship from Ilya Dragunov. And he wants the Tag Team Championships as well. And he's also heard what the Wyatt Six have to say. And he says they're a bunch of phonies. So why don't you guys come down here so we can kick your ass? Kind of that fake confidence kind of deal. He says that, he can beat their ass or they can beat their ass, I suppose. And wants to sort of show it to the peeps. And they are then ambushed by Wyatt Six due to some trickery. Lights come out. Voice comes in, I suppose, from out of nowhere, and then they're ambushed by the Wyatt Six, and it is then made a tag team match as Tamatonga and Talatonga of the MFTs take on Dexter Loomis and Joe Gacy of the Wyatt Six. I think that the MFTs win here by pinfall. Again, I think they should establish the dominance a bit of the MFTs, especially when going up against the Wyatt Six. It could end in the DQ. I can see that, but I'm leaning more towards MFTs. They kind of feel like a faction that kind of needs some wins under their belt. But right now, they kind of feel like a phony ass faction with no wins under their belt. So they kind of have to legitimize themselves. And I will have them sort of take this win, but this is just a battle in a war. So there will be more matches between them. And ultimately, I still think this is going to lead to a War Games match between the MFTs and the Wyatt Six. They're still yet to reveal the next member. I still think that the member is going to be a female, which is Nia Jax. Trust me, I think that's what they're doing. But yeah, that's what I'm going to have there. After the match, everyone brawls together, and they're sort of taken away from the ring. And they brawl around the arena. And then we're going to have Solo attacked by Rey Fenix because of what happened last week. Which leads to Solo Sikoa versus Rey Fenix. And I am going to have, as a sort of, 50-50 booking kind of style, I'm going to have Rey Fenix win by pinfall. And, kind of shows that the MFTs are powerful without Solo Sikoa. So I guess that's what I want to establish there as well. But it's Solo Sikoa's leadership that kind of makes them gel together, unlike Division. So I guess that's the difference, I suppose. So I'm going to have Rey Fenix win there. I guess Rey Fenix could be factored into the War Games match, I suppose. Probably not, but I think Rey Fenix should go to the US Championship, challenge Ilya Dragunov for that championship instead of being in random ass mid-card feuds, but it is what it is. So that's that. And finally, I'll move on to the main event, which is Drew McIntyre versus Jacob Fatu. I have Jacob Fatu win because of a distraction from Randy Orton to distract Drew McIntyre. And after the match, Randy Orton attacks Drew McIntyre because of what he did to Cody last week. And I am going to have Cody not appear. And I am going to have Drew and Randy just brawl it out. And it ends with an RKO to Drew to end the show. Unless Cody is a featured superstar, in which case, I don't know, he'll probably be involved in this one too. Maybe set up a triple threat as Saturday night's main event. I don't know. If he's not featured, then he's not featured, I guess. Any questions?
So I think the reason for the beatdown on Jacob Fatu was he is recovering from some sort of dental procedure. That was the story that I've heard on the dirt sheets. So that was a way for them to write him off for a few weeks.
Well, I don't know. Maybe this injury is not... Have they talked about how significant the injury is or how critical it is, I suppose? Like, is that...
No, all I've heard from the dirt sheets is that he's recovering from some sort of dental procedure. That was why all of his teeth were on the floor, if you didn't notice. So I don't know, like, it could just be like, I don't know, it could just be like a basic, thing. Usually the recovery, I had dental surgery last year, and usually the recovery period is roughly like 2 to 3 weeks, 4 weeks at the most. So he should be good in time for Survivor Series, most likely, but he's going to be out for at least a month, probably.
Well, I'm operating on the assumption that Jacob Fatu is all gas, no brakes, and any injury he doesn't care. So I'm operating on that. So I think Jacob Fatu is gonna be on the show. But then again, I predicted Seth Rollins would be on Raw, and he wasn't. So I could be wrong, but
Yeah,
I
well,
think Jacob Fatu is going to be there.
okay. All right. Well, I guess let's go to my card. I have a completely different card than you.
All
So,
right. Okay. Let's get to it. Starting off with
a Cody Rhodes promo. So Cody comes out. He addresses what happened at last week. He understands. There's a little bit of suspicion that he might have been the one to lay out Jacob Fatu, but he says, hey, I'm not that kind of guy. Drew McIntyre has shown in the past that he is capable of doing that kind of thing. Nick Aldis comes out, and Nick says, hey, they still need more time to investigate as to who beat up and laid out Jacob Fatu. We need to analyze the footage and see who drove the white Hummer. We don't know because this is 1995 and we only have 360p quality VHS. So we need to analyze it and figure out who actually did it. But
enhance.
Given that last week ended in a disqualification because Cody hit Drew with the belt, which makes me think they're going to start slow burning a heel turn for Cody Rhodes. And I think the way they're going to do it is that Cody is going to be like this champion who he doesn't want to lose. Like, he doesn't want to give up the championship. He doesn't want to lose. So he does everything possible to avoid having to fight an even opponent, taking them out, trying to avoid giving them a match, that kind of thing. I think that's how they might do it. And because of this, they're going to go ahead and do another number one contenders match. And it's going to be Drew versus Randy Orton. And that'll be the main event.
Okay. Who do you think laid out? Who do you really think laid out Jacob Fatu?
Oh, I think it's 100% Cody.
Oh.
I think it's Cody. Yeah, I think the story is going to be Cody going around and like hobbling or taking out his potential threats, so that he doesn't have to give up the championship.
Okay. Well, if
And I think
that's
they'll
the
play
case,
it as sort of like a corporate champion,
like The Rock.
Yeah, but not like The Rock, where he was sort of the corporation was sort of in the pocket, like subservient to him, so like they were giving him everything he needed. I think it's more Cody. He has the podcast deal, he has the deal with Wheatley, he has all this other stuff, and he doesn't want to give it up, by giving up his championship. So he's trying to do everything that he can to keep himself the champion. So I think that's how they're going to go. Yeah.
You really want Cody to turn heel, huh?
I think they're going to slow burn it. I think they have to. Because he's starting to get a little bit stale. Even though he cuts good promos and he's good in the ring, I think, every once in a while, I know he's like the new John Cena, and, John Cena never turned heel until he did. But, like, you can't do that anymore, man. You can't have a white meat babyface being the same act for literally 20 years.
It's a different time.
Fresh.
Yeah.
Gotta experiment a little bit. It's a different time. Yeah.
He's got to be Homelander now.
I'm not saying you have to be Kevin Nash and switch every week, but you gotta keep it fresh.
You can't be the Big Show. Definitely not the Big Show. Don't be the Big Show. Actually,
the Big Show. The Big Show to me is what we call in other sports a journeyman, where he's just kind of a guy that you pick up to fill a spot. Like whenever you needed to fill a spot for a 4-way, or need to fill a spot for a War Games match, or need to fill a spot for a tag team, you just got the Big Show because he was guaranteed to give you some pop. He's a big guy. He can sell, so he just fit, and that's really all he is.
Yeah, that's why he's turned face and heel like 100 times. And now he's in AEW representing the Big Boom AJs of the world. Hell yeah. What a guy. Anyway, enough about the Big Show. We'll move on to
Sami Zayn and Ilya. How do you pronounce it? Ilya. Ilya Dragunov versus the MFTs. I don't know who in the MFTs this is, but it's going to be two of the MFTs. You can give me
Mom
half
fungible
points for this if
tokens.
you want, if I'm right. My fungible tokens, my
Yep.
friendly Tongans. So they win thanks to interference from the rest of the MFTs, and then they try to conduct another post-match beatdown on Cody and Sammy, or sorry, on Ilya and Sammy. And then the Wyatt Six appear to fight the MFTs. The MFTs run away, but one of them is taken out by the Wyatt Six and laid out in the ring. And I think this starts the Wyatt Six's mind games with the MFTs. Kind of how they did it with the Street Profits, even though the Street Profits didn't really break up. So I don't know. But I think this starts them trying to manipulate the MFTs into breaking up, possibly.
So
So we'll
by
see.
taken out, you mean like like Jacob Fatu last week taken out?
Yeah. Well, no, he's sort of laid out in the ring by it'd be like a Sister Abigail or something. Um, and then he's left there as the Wyatt Six kind of just stand over them. And I think that's how they start getting the MFTs to break away.
And like that person is not gonna be seen for a while, right?
No, he will be, but I think they're going to start playing mind games like how they did with the Wyatt Six. Where they like, oh, they don't really love you. They didn't come back to save
Oh,
you.
right, right,
You
right,
saw
right.
that thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's spooky season, so we gotta establish Wyatt Six dominance for the month. And then once November rolls around, they're like, ah, whatever. Who cares, I guess. But all right. Makes sense, I guess. We'll move on from that too.
the Tiffany Stratton versus Kiana James. So Tiffany wins this one via pinfall, despite losing or despite interference from Julia because Jade Cargill comes out. And I think this reignites the Jade Cargill versus Tiffany Stratton feud.
Okay, so you're gonna have Jade. Oh, Jade attacked Julia? I guess? Is what you think will happen here?
Yes, Jade. So Julia tries to interfere. Jade comes out and attacks her, and this leads to Jade getting back into the main title picture, possibly U.S. title picture, but also main title picture as well.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be more main title. And you think this is gonna be at Saturday night's main event?
Yes.
Alright. Sounds good to me. We'll move on from that too.
Nathan Frazier versus Johnny Gargano. So this was a confrontation last week that happened between DIY and Fraxium. They particularly highlighted Johnny Gargano and Nathan Frazier, both of whom I believe were NXT champions at one point.
Yeah, I think so,
Um,
yeah.
so they might go this route by saying, yeah, we're going to go, we're going to do the two prior NXT champions versus each other. Um, and yeah, that's how that'll go. I think Gargano wins this one via pinfall, and this will probably lead to a Tommaso Ciampa versus whoever the fuck Axiom is. Yeah,
Actually,
Axiom.
there
That's his
you
name.
go.
It's Tommaso Ciampa versus Axiom next week.
I
So
let it also be known that Tommaso Ciampa is an NXT champ, well, former NXT champion, I should say, much like Nathan Frazier and Johnny Gargano. So, it's not just them two. Just wanted to point that out. It's also Tommaso Ciampa. Yeah, great. So, who do you think will win if Tommaso Ciampa versus Axiom happens next week? Do you think we'll be doing 50-50 booking?
I think we will
Put
be doing 50-50 booking, yes.
all right. And then we'll probably have Praxium versus DIY at Saturday night's main event, I guess, or the go home show.
Yes, probably. Yeah.
Okay, I guess. I don't know what else. I don't know what else to think of the tag teams here. Raw got no tag teams, and SmackDown got no direction for the tag teams. So Oh well. We'll move on to the main event, which is
Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre. So Drew McIntyre, much like Jacob Fatu last week, is attacked backstage, but he's not fully laid out. So Randy is able to make his way to the ring, but Drew is able to beat him. Drew wins via pinfall, but Cody manages to come out and attack Drew after the bell. So Drew technically wins, becomes it, and then Cody comes out after the bell to attack Drew because Cody thinks that Drew laid out Randy.
So, two things here. First of all, you're saying that Cody attacked Randy backstage, or is it someone else?
I'm thinking Cody attacked Randy backstage. Yes.
Okay, which leads me to my second point. It seems to me like you are sort of fast tracking Cody's heel turn here, or at least you're making this sort of mystery. I get compounding the mystery, right? Because now you're tacking on two people to this who attack. Well, not two people, just one more person to the who attacked who kind of mystery, I suppose. But it seems to me you're kind of fast tracking Cody. Like, how would you, I guess, expound this mystery over the course of a couple of weeks? I'm guessing you're gonna wrap this up at Survivor Series and turn Cody heel.
Possibly, yes. I think what happens here is that Cody continues to try and solve his own mystery. I think eventually, maybe at Survivor Series, we find out that Cody did it. Like maybe Cody did it, or maybe the show after Survivor Series, we find out that Cody did it, because Cody turned heel at Survivor Series. Like, he betrayed his team because he didn't want them to win. I don't know. I just think that this is how Cody gets his rematch with Randy. I'm sorry, with Drew, and then I think from there you start to see Cody's downfall.
Okay, interesting.
Yes.
Interesting idea. I mean, I don't know if they'll do that though. They kind of picked the safe route like 100 times. I mean, that's why Jey Uso won against everyone else in the Battle Royal. So we'll see if they pick the adventurous option and turn Cody heel at some point. But I don't know. I think it's still too soon, and I don't think Cody attacked Jacob. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But until then, I suppose that's it. That is our predictions and bookings for the next episode of SmackDown. And we'll watch it, the next episode of SmackDown, I mean, when it comes out. So, until then, thank you so much for ordering a blue cheese pizza called probably next week on SmackDown from Grapperinos. And remember, if you are down for some fresh, oven-baked, crispy wrestling content, stop by Grapperinos and order yourself some content you can grapple with. See you next time, Grapperinos.